Welcome back, everybody. Still in the Southern Curiosity Resort near beautiful Lake Texoma, Oklahoma, Texas border. Today I'm doing a VR for John P. Collects cards, and he wants us to talk a little bit about somebody we wish we had seen play at some point in our life. Um, and for me, I'm kind of a local historian. I like the local aspect of players that have come through and played in my hometown, etc. And this baseball stand behind me this is Bruno Winkler Ballpark, and it's in the oxbow of a river. There's a river behind the grandstand, and there's a river behind the fence. And when I was there used to be a old wooden fence right along the river, and we measured it one time. It's like 280 feet from home plate down the line, which is pretty good distance for a small town. If you cross the river on the other side of that grandstand, you have a mile to walk before you get to the Canadian border, and the immigration office is sitting there with welcoming smiles. I've been through there several hundred times. I used to know the people that worked there back in the day, and a lot of good memories. We played in a little league that was half American teams or United States teams, half Canadian teams. I guess, we're all America, North America. So just thought I'd show you this stadium or this grandstand. It's a lot of history there. I used to watch softball, Legion, Babe Ruth. I played Babe Ruth, Little League. I'd sit in the stands. I'd sit in the car beside there, or else I'd lay on top of the dugout watching the game. A great view there. And there's a lot of history with this little ballpark. It goes back to the turn of the 20th century. And that's what I'm going to touch on today. We'll start off first with a little bit of my input. Here's my Little League team, circa 1968, I believe. A lot of my buddies that I grew up with. One of them, I bought their childhood baseball card collection probably 5-10 years ago. There's several of us used to sit at his house, and we'd play baseball card games on the floor of his bedroom, and it was good times. So the first person I would like to talk about is John Donaldson. And here's a original letter from the All Nations team. See if I can make this a little bit. Maybe I can't make it bigger. But if you look at the top, John Donaldson's the manager. J.L. Wilkinson is the president, based out of Kansas City. And John Donaldson, as we all know, played for the Kansas City Monarchs and a few other teams. He played with the All Nations for many years, starting about 1909. And then there's another famous player on here, Jose Mendez. He's in the Hall of Fame. And I don't have a card for John Donaldson and Jose Mendez. I don't have a card either, but I have this original letterhead from 1923 that they're searching for teams to play in North Dakota, Minnesota, Manitoba. So I have their inquiry letter. And John Donaldson was on the verge of the Hall of Fame. He just didn't get in. He's in the Veterans Committee or the Era Committee, whatever they call it right now. And next up is the letter where they're accepting the date, 6/8 of 1923. I have the scorebook, but I don't have that particular game. Somebody must have taken it as a souvenir. So I've got those two letters with John Donaldson and Jose Mendez. And here's the I have this cabinet card of the 1923 team that played against them at that ballpark. The town is Nitchie, North Dakota. If you're into geography, look it up on Google Maps or something. The guy in the front, name might sound familiar. That's Bruno Winkler, who the park is named after. And as you can see, the grandstands, the original grandstand had burnt down, and the new one is the one that I showed you before. And I guess I didn't point out the guy that we played the baseball card games on in his bedroom floor, the whole group of us, his name, Bruno Winkler, was his grandfather, as were a couple other guys on this team, grandfathers of people I grew up with. So that's a nice cabinet card to have. The next guy I wish I would have seen play, nobody real famous, but another personal pick of mine. Here's my cabinet card of the 1890s Bruce, North Dakota baseball team. There's a little community about 6-7 miles southwest of Nitchie. This is the tall guy, second from the left in the back row is my great grandfather. And then the guy, tall guy, two guys over from him is his brother. And the one in the middle with the mustache is another brother. And then it's a cousin in the middle and a lot of the area people. It was never really a town. They had a school, a church, and the only thing that remains is a cemetery where some of these gentlemen are resting in peace. I wish I would have been able to be there and just see how things went in the 1890s with baseball. You can see their equipment down below. Catcher's mask, baseball bat. I think he might be holding a baseball in his hand there on that one gentleman's shoulder. And finally, the third player, I could say players. Here's a newspaper clipping from when Satchel Paige passed away. And it talks about Josh Gibson. That's one person who would have loved to have seen play. And it talks about apparently Josh Gibson, called by some the greatest catcher in the game, caught Paige on at least one of his North Dakota trips. This catcher was usually good for at least 2 home runs every game. So I don't doubt he hit over 800 home runs at barnstorming in towns like this. Writes the telephone employee one time in Nitchie, he stepped to the plate, turned around and said, "I will now endeavor to hit this out of the park." Sure enough, he hit over the river and out of the park. So I was talking to a friend of mine, being we measured the left field line at 280, and we don't know if his home run went right down the line. It was probably a 380-foot drive. It could have been over 400, depending on where it went over the river. So that's the story of Josh Gibson that I have. And he's, just all the stories you hear about Josh Gibson, they're just would like to see him at least play in my hometown, because I'm very much based on family history, local history. I have a history major as one of my majors in college. And for Josh Gibson, I do have a couple cards. As most people know, there's not many cards out there. The only playing days ones are from that 1930s Harrisonburg postcard set, or Harrison postcard set, where there's probably half a dozen Negro League players and a couple team photos. And Gibson's on an individual photo that's signed twice. I went for big bucks in an auction about 20 years ago. And he also is on one of the team photos, I believe, though, the Grays. And according to my buddy Derek over at um, on his site, he says this is the only pack pulled or the first pack pulled Josh Gibson card. This is 1983 Donruss Heroes. So I wonder, this might be the second one, 1990. Is this 4 or 3? $1993 Ted Williams. That was a fun box to open when they first came out too. And the shout outs I would like to do, John requested us to do a couple shout outs. A couple of my new friends on YouTube, great cards on their channel, fairly new to YouTube, great guys too. Jerry at the Big Six Cards, and great channel. He's got a lot of pre-war cards from Turkey Reds, T206s. He's got Colgan chips. Had a nice conversation with him the other day. Just a wonderful guy. Check out his site. And another one is JGA59 Gannon. He has a lot of great cards from the 50s, 60s. Knows a lot about baseball cards. I would encourage everybody to check out their sites. Just wonderful guys. And thank you for watching. And congrats to John for 1,000 subs, 3 years on YouTube. He's got a great channel too. He does some work with Steve, Vintage on Vintage. I'm sure I'll be running them guys in Chicago at the National this year. So congrats again, John, and I hope to see you soon, and hope you have another 3 or 30 more years on YouTube, depending on how the technology goes, of course. So I'm looking forward to Dallas Show this weekend, seeing some old friends like Matt from the Card Story and a few other guys. We'll see who shows up. Anyway, everybody have a great week, and thank you.